What a lovely start to the day. Beautiful morning. A little bit cold and fresh though. Got down to 6 degrees last night, so this morning has definitely felt fresh. We left the pond yesterday, topped up. You may notice a couple of lights have been positioned in the pond. Got all the lights and the cables routed and the anchor points fitted to the pond. And the third light is going to be the up lighter over here for what will be the tipping amphora, the pot that's going to be cascading water, which we've got here. So Dave is going to demonstrate drilling through the base of the pot. So the idea here is that we're putting a hole in the base of the pot so that we can put the return outlet pipe from the filter into the base of the pot. That's going to fill and cascade through. It's a nice snug fit. We're not going to have to use any sort of tank connectors or fittings. We can just put the pipe straight through into that hole, and it shouldn't require any sealing either. It's a general purpose, multi-purpose drill bit, and that's going through nice and easily without hammer action. That's important. There we go. So I've been able to cut off a short section of this 1.5 inch heavy duty hose, heat it up, squeeze it through the hole. It's nice and snug. There's about 3 or 4 inches inside the pot. That's a nice neat fit, which means there's going to be minimal water loss from the pot coming back out the bottom here. I'm not concerned about sealing this, and I don't need to, as I say, put any sort of fitting or tank connector in that. But what I am going to do is I've attached an 1.5 inch hose joiner here, so that the bit of hose that we've got in the pond will connect onto the pot here, rather than that main piece go through the hole or connect immediately under the base of the amphora. And that makes it a lot easier in the future if we need to move this for any reason and remove it, rather than having to muck about pulling the pipe out. We can just disconnect it, leaving the amphora in place from behind it. So we're going to stand this in the pond. It'll have a dummy run initially. I think what I'd like to do is to partially drain the pond back down again so that I can get access to the gravel nice and neatly, get the base of the pot concealed in the gravel, the pipework hidden in the gravel. But for now, I'm quite keen just to get some water flowing through it and see how it looks. Gonna have to muck about with angles once it's flowing so we can get the desired projection or pour of water, where's the camera, back into the pond. And I want to have this positioned just so that the pour is going to be over the stonework here, rather than pouring into the gravel, because the strong flow from the pump will just end up disrupting and creating a bit of a pit in the gravel. Having said that, if I want to move the pot back, I can just position a couple of rocks on top of the gravel where the water pours in, and that will prevent that from happening. And actually, I think I would prefer it to be somewhere over here. That means we've got a bit more scope for planting, framing it either side. Let's go with that. Right, I'm happy with that position. It's going to be a bit of a two-person job trying to connect the hose onto the fitting. So I'll get Dave to probably hold the pot for me as I try and push it together. So that's pipe connected to arse end of pot.
hose, where does that go? Is that theirs or yours?
I'm recording.
Oh, sorry.
The Fiji yellow hose is theirs. I should just coil it up and put it over by the blue tub. Right, let's switch that on and see how it looks. Yay! Success! Nice projection. That's pouring right on top of the light that I fitted down here. So this column of water is going to get illuminated at night time and look really nice. Fantastic. So my clients are away at the moment for a couple of days. So as a nice little surprise, I just wanted to get some greenery back into the pond around the amphora here, just to make it look a little bit more complete. So I've got a selection of some plants with me, some of the usual suspects that I like to use: Pondateria, pickerel weed, Iris versicolor, purple American flag iris, some Calthopalustris, marsh marigolds, and a nice spearmint, Mentha cervina. This is a lovely, the smell coming off this is fantastic. And then I've also got this lovely little gem here, Typha minima. Miniature bulrush. I always say it's not a bulrush, it's actually a reed mace, but everybody likes to call them bulrushes. But this is a lovely sized plant for sort of small to medium sized ponds with these lovely little burrs or sort of bulrushes on top. Very nice. So I'm going to get some of these in. I've dropped the level of the pond down just a little bit just to make access a bit easier, and I've also taken the opportunity to drop down that amphora and sort of partially bury it in the gravel. Weather this week is looking pretty bad. In fact, it's just starting to spit now, so the gazebo is probably going to have to go up. And I'm expecting to complete at the end of this week. So true to form, the weather is going to turn. It's always the case. Right, gazebo up now, I think. Oh, really not what I want at this stage of the job. Let's just sneak the camera in under the gazebo. Coming towards the end of August now, and suddenly what a change it is. Beginning to feel like autumn is only around the corner, which it is, I guess. So the idea here is I just want to get a few plants that are going to frame the amphora. And as always, when I'm planting these into the gravel, they're not going in baskets, they're just getting planted bare rooted, moving aside some gravel, putting the plants in and then pushing the gravel back alongside it just to hold it in place. Nice natural way of planting, and it allows the plants to sort of run through the marginal zones and grow very naturally. Get some of this pickerel weed. Lovely. It's always so nice to get some life into the pond, to get some plants in here. And normally adding the plants like this would be a signal that I'm coming to the end of the job and on the last day or two. Sadly, that's not the case with this one. I've still got a bit of stonework to do around the bog area, but we're not far away. I'll carry on with this and then show you the finished result shortly. Monumental moment this, the last stone that I'm going to have to put down. It's been a very long time coming. A little bit more. Lovely at this stage of the job to be able to work hearing the sound of the water. And now we've had the filtration system running overnight for 24 hours. The pond is already starting to clear. Beginning to see the bottom of the pond, beginning to see the pump emerging. So the filtration system is doing its job. There we go. Right, so we can leave this to go off for the next hour or so, and then I can clean up what I've laid this morning. Then we can start focusing on adding the gravel to this walkway, a little bit more soil to the bog garden, a bit more planting to the pond, particularly water lilies, and then it's tidying up. Hurrah! So the 20mm gill mill gravel is going down on the walkway. We use 10mm in the pond. Smaller material, smaller aggregate, it's going to be much nicer for the plants to root into, but for anywhere where you're going to be walking, you want something with a bit more weight, something that's not going to flick up and sort of soil the bog area and make a mess. So the 20mm is a much nicer size for this. And it's these finishing touches that suddenly really accelerate the project forward and make it look like it's complete. Very nice, very pleased with how it's looking. Now I use this stone a lot in many of my projects. It's a lovely material. It's a water-worn or a river-worn pebble. So it's slightly more rounded than a shingle. It's got this lovely sort of light buff colour, riddled with fossils. So when I'm working with it, I tend to spend a long time looking for shells and ammonites and bits and pieces. And it compacts down a lot nicer than shingle, so to walk on it's a much nicer material. Big day today. Last day, I say last day, it's never really a last day on jobs like this, but essentially by the end of today this is going to be finished. A lot of cleaning up to do, a lot of soil to move around, and a few more plants to bring into the pond. So that's looking lovely. Filtration starting to clear the water, a little bit of gravel and a bit of muck at the bottom of the pond that will vacuum out. Bog garden looking a lot nicer now with a bit more soil in, still needs a bit of a top up. And Dave busy beavering away, picking up gravel and tidying. Amazingly the sun is shining. It wasn't forecast, I'm expecting rain at any point, but at the moment it's blue skies, looking really nice. I hope it continues. One plant that I've yet to come to grips with are some water lilies. And if you remember right at the beginning of this job, a lot of the pond was overgrown with lots of white lily rhizomes, which I salvaged. They've been sitting in this pot here, sprouting away. So I'm now chopping up usable bits of this rhizome that I can plant on into some pond baskets. So I've got some big lumps like this, and I'm just separating out the growing eyes, a bit of rhizome here, a little bit of root with some shoots on the top, and this is going to make for a very good plant. I'll get these potted on into some pond baskets filled with just a 10mm gravel, no aquatic soil, and because it's gravel, it's not going to leach out of the basket. There's no need to line it with any hessian or foam squares, and the gravel, being a little bit heavier, acts as a great ballast to hold the plant down. Just give the baskets a bit of a rinse, clean away some of that dust and muck that's in the gravel, and then they can go in the pond. Now, one important tip when you're planting lily rhizomes like this is to make sure that you don't plant it too deep in the gravel. Pull it up close to the surface so that this growing tip, or the eye of the rhizome, is at or slightly proud of the gravel, and that will allow the plant to grow unhindered. A few more plants in the pond. Lovely Myosotis pullustrus, the aquatic water forget-me-not. It's got a really nice kind of cottagey garden vibe to it. A very useful native plant, popular with newts that like to lay little individual eggs on the leaves and then fold them over to create nice neat little packages. But I love how kind of very informally it likes to run its way through all of the marginal borders and through the other plants. And it's lovely that it's still in flower this late in the season. A little bit of evergreen foliage with some Acorus here. Leaving plenty of scope for future planting, but it's just nice to get something in here now to give the pond a little bit of interest, to start to get it established and seeded. It's not until you start to get some plants and some life in the pond that you're really going to start to attract wildlife, dragonflies and beetles, pond skaters and things, which are then going to start to lay their eggs in the pond and help to get it established and to build up that kind of natural habitat. Now I am stirring up the pond a little bit again, moving this gravel, but it will settle and clear very quickly. A bit more iris. Again, some of the iris versicolor, the purple American flag, much smaller than our native Pseudocorus yellow flag iris. A lot more suitable for a pond of this kind of size. I mean, to be fair, you probably could get away with a little bit of yellow flag in here. So if you particularly wanted to plant up with native only varieties, a little bit of that wouldn't go amiss, but you have to keep on top of it and make sure that it doesn't overrun the pond and get too big. Let's get this water lily in the pond. So the two smaller ones over there were the white Nymphaea alba, well, it's actually the odorator owl, the slightly smaller one. And this is a bigger lily for the deeper section of the pond. We've got a chromatella, a nice, very, very pale yellow lily. And what's nice about this is it's got variegated foliage, so it provides a little bit more interest and a slightly different colour lily pad. And that's going to grow up and provide a nice bit of cover to conceal the pump and the hosing over here. Now this late in the year, we're right at the end of August, I'd like to think we're still going to get a few pads at the surface, as long as it stays reasonably mild. But of course the lily itself, as all the pond plants are, they're beginning to shut down for the autumn and winter months. So there's not going to be a lot of growth at this time of year, but at least they're in the pond, ready to get established from next spring onwards. Right, that's it for pond planting. Now we've got a lot of tidying up to do. Got some last minute levelling to sort out here. A few low spots around the pond and a lot of soil to get rid of. And then I think we're going to be done on this. Really pleased with it, it's looking lovely. And it's still dry. Very difficult to end jobs like this. Where do you finish? I mean, it still needs a lot of planting to do, and that's something that's going to happen in the bog garden. Probably next season it'll have the winter now to settle down and establish, and then it'll be over to the owners and the gardeners to sort this bit out. Likewise, the pond itself, I mean, there's plenty of plants in here now to get it going, but there's scope to plant up a bit more, and it's going to take a good season, really, into the second year before the pond is established, and I think looking at its best. But this all started about 6 weeks ago on a hot day, looking for a lost frog, finding a nest of baby shrews. Actually, we never did find out what happened to those. Hopefully they survived. And then this is the end result. It's been a labour of love. I know Dave's enjoyed getting back, doing something physical and joining the team again. And I have to say I'm really pleased with the end result. It's been a lovely design, a lovely shape, and I think it integrates itself really nicely into the garden here. I shall be very interested in seeing how this settles down and establishes in the future. So I will definitely be doing a return visit on this pond next year, and perhaps going forward into the seasons ahead. But for the time being, I'm Ed from Crystal Clear Aquatics. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next pond. Don't ruin on my gravel.
As I push him in.
don't you dare. Chin chin.
Cheers.
Job well done. Dave, ladies and gentlemen, he's been an absolute trooper working on this. Who'd have thought, a 70-year-old doing all of this? But no, you've been fantastic. Well done. Thank you
very much. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Cheers, everyone.
Till the next time. Gotta get up.
Do you need a hand getting up at 70?